Hello again, and many thanks for joining us on another edition of Capital Sports coming to you on NT Abuja Channel 5. I am Badi Adeleye. And of course, loads and loads of things to talk about in the world of sports. But when it comes to age grade competition for the men, or you just say the boys, and not the best of news at the moment for Nigeria. Nigeria's under 17 boys will not be part of the under 17 AFCON this year. And that means they've been shut out of the under 17 World Cup. And of course, the Nigerian under 20 boys down there in Chile are not the best of results in their first game against Norway, dominating and not getting a goal. But they have another encounter midnight, against Saudi Arabia. We'll not see them as minors. We expect them to do something on the show, when they play that particular encounter. And evidently, the Super Eagles, they've got what, some people can say like a lifeline all year this week with FIFA, landing their hammer on South Africa, docking them 3 points and 3 goals. We'll talk about that and, of course, the chances of the Super Eagles of Nigeria with, 2 games remaining. And of course, we do know that, we've seen actions in the UEFA Champions League on Tuesday and Wednesday, Europa League and Conference League to come tonight. We'll talk about all that and many more on the show today. It's always a loaded package, and we're promising you a sword time on the show today. But just before I introduce my guest to you, let's go on this very quick break, to pay some bills.
Life is full of stress. But with InDrive, you can set a price for your ride. Choose a top-rated driver and fill your life with gladness and serenity during the ride. InDrive, choose a fair price for your ride. Because life is more than daily stress.
He was here, and of course, he had a fantastic debut. We have to give him the match ball, and of course, he's back again on the show today. So join me in welcoming no other person than our very own Tewase Igbayima. Many thanks for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, Barry, I'm glad to be here once again.
Today you look like the chief.
Maybe.
Well, I
Some
don't get it.
aspirations.
Well, Liverpool did not win. So what's up?
Yeah, it's a game of football. You don't get to win all games, but the target is there. Let's see how it goes.
All right, quite interesting. They will always say charity begins from home. So let's begin from Nigeria here. And evidently, the Nigerian under 17 boys, they're out of contention when it comes to the trophy for the WAFU B under 17, Boys Cup. And they lost to Ghana. Many never saw it coming 2-0. You mean the Nigerian on the 17 side being defeated by Ghana? We always well up teams, in the past, it will always be something like 7-0, 6-0. It's always a complete demolition. And we have always known Coach Garba Manu for complete football. But watching them these days, it's more, many people just feel like this is disaster class on display.
Well, the game of football is progressing, progressive in nature. We may have it on the adverse side in Nigeria. Looks like we are retrogressing instead of progressing.
Really?
But age grade football on the continent of Africa has taken a new shape. We got, so many countries, going back to the grassroots, discovering talent, promoting them, having some, grassroots talent programs across the countries. For instance, Ghana, they've got, to engage international maybe football academies to come invest in Ghana, get a good league and groom these young talents, and they're giving them the results they actually want. We don't see that, evidently in Nigeria. Yeah, we could have some, we can say some individuals are doing that, but it's at individual level and that their efforts are not really playing out the way they should play. No wonder we're having the kind of results we're having right now at the age grade football.
All right. Let's see, so many people are quite worried. And of course, they do feel like, you just have to let those coaches who have achieved a lot of things, with Nigeria in the past to rest for now because the game is ever evolving, and of course, we have some coaches who just really know how to handle the young lads now. And somebody gave examples of, the coach of, Beyond Limits Academy, down there that, they understand how football academies actually work these days. And of course, it would be nice to, bring in those people. I should stop, because in the past 10 years, you just find out that if it's not Fatah Amal, it's going to be Gabra Mamu, it's going Manu, it's going to be Induka Ubadi, it's going to be, Amunike.
Yeah.
It's going to, it's just, you're just bringing these guys. And of course, there are some guys that, their job has just been, being with these young lads. And they are making huge success. They go to any part of the world, they win with, you see them win games with, the score goes with reckless abandon and all of that. Is it not time for the NFF to take a look at this? We can't keep recycling this set of coaches.
Yeah, you're right. If you say that, Buddy, because some of these coaches have actually given us a good result. They've done paid the dues. If you mention the likes of Monique, yeah, he got this lad out there. I think in 2015, the likes of Seaman came to limelight, having performed brilliantly at the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. Seaman setting the record, 9 goals. No striker have been able to set in that at the category, at that level of FIFA competition. Got the likes of Chukwueze, Samuel, and lots of them that Coach Emmanuel Amunike was able to bring them out, bring the best out of them, and they're flourishing in their career at the moment. But gone are the days. We got some stumbling blocks. A lot seems not to be happening. But just like you say, we need to rejig, look for some avenues that actually move up to the level of modern day football. We can't be recycling these guys. Today you bring him in, he doesn't give you a result. You go back and pick the one that was there before him, and it's not going to work that way. We need to get some new guys who got fresh minds out there. It mustn't be even the local ones. Yes, we're proud of our local football coaches, but when it seems to not give you the kind of result you want, you need to digress. You look for some kind of methodologies that will actually give you the kind of result that you deserve.
All right, quite interesting because in a few minutes from now we'll be opening the phone lines for our callers, callers. But let's quickly talk about the Nigeria under-20 boys now, talking about the Flying Eagles, from the Golden Eagles to the Flying Eagles. And of course, their first match, they lost to Norway. It was a narrow one, and of course, they completely dominated. And all those strikers that we always expect to, bury chances, were not able to do that on that particular night. Painful. That was on Monday night. Now, midnight, they've got another encounter against Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia haven't lost their opening match to Colombia. Are also hungry for their first points of this year's World Cup. But Nigeria, we've got everything to fight for today. We cannot afford to lose our second game. And of course, we do know there are no minors in football again, but we cannot lose to Saudi Arabia.
Exactly. It's a make-or-ma encounter for Nigeria.
Hello, everybody. The first round of fixtures at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in 2020.
To Norway, in a game they actually played brilliantly well. It created a lot of chances, big chances. We are good, in initiating the football plan from the defense to midfield and in the attacking line. They were not just able to combat the chances they created. That which is the ultimate in football. You got to hit the back of the net to be able to talk of getting the points and progressing to the next round. Unfortunately, our boys did not get that in the first match. But today they know what is going to be at stake, and by history, Nigeria have encountered Saudi Arabia on 3 occasions, and it has gone the Nigerian way. It has favored Nigeria. But none of these, I think just one of them, they were able to have a clean sheet. They conceded like twice in the past 3 meetings. And this is a team that is having problems with scoring. So if they allow themselves to go down for Saudi Arabia, concede first, it's going to be much complicated for them. So I think they know what is at stake. They've got to bring in their A game, avoid some mistakes, and try to make use of the chances they are going to create. I think that way they'll be able to keep some hopes alive for the tournament.
Right, quite interesting. We still, lots and lots of things to talk about when it comes to all these age grade competitions. But one thing that we can talk about is that they always say most times that what a man can do, a woman can do better. But it does, when it comes to women's football now, we cannot deny the Super Falcons are giving us joy.
I think it should be the other side. What the Super Falcons can do, Super Eagles should try to do better.
But that's what I'm saying. The ladies are leading the way. And, Falconets are doing well. Flamingos are they always find themselves.
The Tigers are doing
You understand? So the ladies are delivering, when it comes to what we expect from them, the deliverables. But it's the men now who are just behind. And I think, it sounds pathetic at times, but, we move. Maybe it's because they've been good too many times and, the Guardiola syndrome is affecting them. All right, quite beautiful. I think just just before we continue our discussion and open the phone lines, it will be a very good time for us to go on another break. And when we return, we'll be talking about the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. And we do know that many want to see Nigeria and the Americas, talking about Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America when we have the World Cup. There's an update with the Super Eagles being handed a lifeline. And of course, South Africa now have 14 points out of possible 17 after the latest FIFA sanction, which they are appealing already. We'll talk about that when we return.
Life is full of stress. But with InDrive, you can set the price for your ride. Choose a top-rated driver and fill your life with gladness and serenity during the ride. InDrive, choose a fair price for your ride, because life is more than daily stress.
Quite interesting. All right, let's turn our attention now to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. But before we talk about our chances and our upcoming games, Nigerians, that's what they've been calling for. They wanted FIFA to act on the, South Africa, should I say, compliment, fielding an ineligible player talking about against Lesotho. And of course, at the end of the day, FIFA has a hammer to do it on South Africa. 3 points, 3 goals. That's what they lost at the end, of that sanction. And, that throws the group very open. Benin Republic, then the, driving seat now. I'm telling you, not Nigeria. South Africa second and Nigeria third. But despite Nigeria being handed the lifeline, we still cannot say if we win our 2 matches we're there. We're still waiting for South Africa to, stumble. So if they do not, we're in trouble. But we're still hoping that somehow, we could find ourselves, doing the playoff and all that. But that's progress made already. And of course, we'd like you to contribute. Remember, the phone line will be displayed on the screen right away. And of course, you can call us to be part of the show. Tell us, number one, how did you receive the ruling from FIFA sanctioning, South Africa?
Well, it actually makes no significant difference, in my own opinion, because the chances are still slim. The group is not really thrown open the way it should have been. Nigeria still sits for the third on the log table, on the group table.
Are you saying it's not open to Nigeria, or because for a team like Benin Republic?
Yeah, as a Nigerian, as a Nigerian, I'm talking as a Nigerian. Okay. It's not really open for Nigeria. Benin Republic climbs to the summit of the table. South Africa second, Nigeria third. But we have 2 games to go And even if Nigeria wins the two games, what happens to South Africa? Are they going to lose the two games that we have at hand? Is Benin Republic going to lose the two? Yes, we have one to play with Benin Republic. We might beat them. Fortunately, it's here at the Godswill Akpabio, stadium. Maybe we could beat Benin Republic, but are we sure they're going to lose their second match? Are we sure South Africa is going to lose to Zimbabwe and Rwanda? Both games are going to take place in South Africa.
But they only need to lose one, and Nigeria will need to win two.
Okay, are they ready to lose the one that we are talking about?
That's why we're saying that destiny is not in our hands at the moment.
Yes. So the news came to me. I felt very normal. There was not much excitement. Perhaps maybe the one chance we might have there to go could be that maybe we'll end up like the second position on the log table, and then might have an opportunity to play a playoff, go for a playoff to be able to see if we can.
The highest number of points we can get now if we win our two matches will be 17 because we have 11 already.
Yeah,
and of course, 17 at the end of the day might not just be enough, to qualify for the playoffs. But we don't want to talk about it now. We've got games coming up against Lesotho and, of course, Benin Republic. What are the chances of the Super Eagles of Nigeria? We do know that we're playing away. We're playing away to Lesotho, and if you're playing Zimbabwe or Lesotho, it does mean that you're playing in South Africa, and you could be handed the same bad tough, where some of our players, got serious injuries, and of course they were able to, force us to a 1-0 draw down there. Yeah. So what do you expect from Nigeria in the remaining two games?
Well, the remaining two games are, a make or mar. It's going to determine whether we progress to, be part of the World Cup in North America or not. So I expect Nigeria, though it is coming somehow late, the energy, the enthusiasm, everything should have been put together right from the beginning of these qualifiers. We wouldn't have, found ourselves putting on calculators trying to see if this person draw or this person loses or points are deducted from this particular person. It will, give us some, headway into the qualification. We would have started brilliantly, but unfortunately, we found ourselves in this situation. So it's 2 games to go. It's a must-win for Nigeria before we can think of any possible luck that will come our way.
So we should just, help ourselves because heaven helps, those, help themselves. That's quite interesting to know. And of course, Nigerians, the way we always say it, you do this one. And that's going to, the Super Eagles of Nigeria because they've made us to go get calculators and we've been calculating. Why must they always do this to us every time? But, that's football for you. That's one of the beautiful things about it because it's never over until the very final whistle. All right, let's move away from Nigeria now and talk about the biggest club football competition in the world. That's the UEFA Champions League. It's been, we saw the buzz just on Tuesday and Wednesday, interesting games. And of course, talking about Nigerian interest, Victor Osimhen leading, the defeat of Liverpool down there in Turkey. That was interesting to see, especially with Tewa Seiye, a Liverpool, supporter who we always like to, could be prideful sometimes. So some of his wings were clipped, and that was interesting to see. And of course, Ademola Lookman made his first start for Atalanta, and it was in a 2-1 win against Club Brugge, a comeback win. Nigerians doing big things and all that. But looking at the full results, let's start with the game. How did you see that performance against Liverpool? Talking about Osimhen.
Great game by Galatasaray. Good one for Victor Osimhen. What a way to return from injury. We saw how Gala suffered in the first match without Osimhen. He came back, with full energy, led the attack, clipped the wings of Liverpool. So
you agree?
Yeah. Liverpool, okay. We have played out of their game plan. They were not allowed to settle down to, play anything as planned earlier. Victor Osimhen, got a good one, beating Alisson Becker on the penalty kick, sending him the wrong direction, scoring the goal where the guy actually, stood before, moving. Nice one. And Ghana were actually energetic throughout 90 minutes, putting Liverpool's out of, their game plan. Now, Arne Slot has a big, job to do here. He came in last season, took over from Jurgen Klopp. It was the smoothest transition.
And he did, what's it called? Yeah. If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Now it's broken, he needs to fix it.
Now it looks like it's broken. And he had a very smoothest transition last season. But now the effect of that transition is beginning to play out. He actually virtually didn't buy any footballer and any player into the team. Got Federico Chiesa, they actually use him. But this season, he got in pretty good players, no doubt. He had a very robust, transfer activity during the transfer window. Got the likes of Florian Wirtz, Frimpong, Kekes, and Hugo Ekitike, and the controversial one, Isak, eventually. Now, he's trying to push his own philosophy into Liverpool, and these guys have to adapt to it. Definitely, at this the early days of the season, he's going to have a shaky start. Fortunately for him, he played 5 games in EPA, amassed maximum 15 points. That looked as if there's no pressure for him. But right now, it's looking like the pressure is coming on Arne Slot, and he has to look for some ways to fix this before he starts getting some awful reactions from the Liverpool fans.
All right, let's look at some other interesting results that we saw. Real Madrid were in no mood for play against Kairat, and of course, Kylian Mbappe got a hat-trick in that particular encounter. I could see Bayern Munich too; they were on rampage. Arsenal got a 2-0 win over Olympiacos. PSG came from behind to beat Barcelona, and they had to stop all those Rashford talks. And of course, some other interesting results, including Newcastle. I think it was only Tottenham and Manchester City that did not win from England. No. And others were able to, get victories over their opponents. All these games that you've seen so far, which one actually catches your fancy?
Yeah, I think let me begin with the PSG. What a way to, begin their title difference. Champions League, the champions, defending champions. Going all the way to Barcelona, let me say they were lucky. It's not actually Camp Nou under construction, and they have to use they're using Olympic Stadium. They all had very horrible memories at Camp Nou during the encounter with Barcelona at home. But this time around, Luis Enrique has actually.
Sorry, I think we have our first caller. Good afternoon and welcome. Your name and where you're calling from?
From Abuja.
All right, what do you have to say, please?
I need 2,000.
Oh, unfortunately, this is not the show where people get to ask for money and we get to send it across. Sorry, it's for you to contribute on the subject matter. Thank you for calling. Please to continue.
Yeah, what a way a level Luis Enrique has taken PSG to. I'm beginning to think PSG has entered into the elite clubs in Europe, and because you got he had a game with.
All right, good afternoon and welcome.
I'm calling. My name is Mohammed, calling from Abuja.
All right, please go ahead and make your contribution.
My question is: is the NHS right to start game or draw, based on the fact that it's on the verge of taking Benin Republic to the 2026 FIFA World Cup? That's my question.
All right, thank you. I think, many Nigerians were calling for his head, and they had to tell him at some point that they don't feel that he was even safe in Nigeria. But, Nigerians felt we could get better. But at the end of the day...
Hello?
Hello, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon.
Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Paris. I'm calling from Niger.
Niger State. Please go ahead, your contribution.
My contribution, how are we going to qualify for this World Cup now? And look at the under-23, they did not go under-17. What is really happening to Nigerian football team? Because what I'm seeing now is not really encouraging me. And for the past 8 years now, to World Cup now, the under-23, under-17, they are not there. Look at the under-Spike now. We are only we are crawling. We are praying now we should be able to qualify from this group now because the Benin they are on
Unfortunately, we lost that. And of course, that brings us to the end of the show today. We just wish you could take, so many calls. Still, I say, many thanks for coming again.
It's my pleasure, Paddy.
And so many Nigerians are still calling. They want to know. You have 10 seconds, please. Welcome. Your name and where you're calling from.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Barnabas, okay?
Oh, yeah. Quickly, your contribution, please.
My contribution is that, this qualification for Super Eagles match,
Yes.
I want the Super Eagles to win the 2 matches, but the two matches. But it's very difficult to know that they know the 2 matches. This was one of South Africa and
that's a possibility we got to. Sorry, we have to go. Thank you for calling. All right, that's the fear of so many Nigerians. Again, Tawa says thank you for joining us.
Yes, my pleasure.
All right, we just need to go. Remember to make it a date with us next Thursday at 3 in the afternoon. And of course, your regular presenter, Abdullah Ajia, is back from his pre-season break. And of course, he's going to be making his first start of this season next week, hopefully. I am Badi Adeleye. Thank you on behalf of the entire production crew. Let's do it next time. Bye.